The Grad Trip. The world of a teacher, on a graduation trip, is really just a series of small mercies. For Elaine Sawa, the mercy was a room all to herself. After the long coach ride from Detroit, the hotel lobby in Ottawa was a catacomb of polished marble, a cavern of exhaustion, where the check-in felt less like a transaction, and more like a seance, summoning room keys from the underworld. When the clerk handed her the key to room 217, she felt a flicker of victory and delight. She looked forward to her private island after a sea of adolescent noise. Upon entering the room, Elaine noticed its decor. It was a study in beige banality. She was struck by the oddity of the window's appearance. The top half showed a slice of the night sky, behind a few cloven hooves of moose statues atop the roof of the portico. Inexplicably, the bottom was closed off, as if that section needed to be hidden. Looking out the window, the hooves seemed like massive, pitted metal feet, holding up an invisible weight. After making sure all students had gone to bed, she finally was able to retire at 11 p.m. The key card clicked, she checked the door lock, then a thought, thin and sharp, pierced her tired mind. Who turned off the television? I don't remember turning it off this evening. From the bathroom, a hard, white light glared. She stood intrigued, trying to pin the memory. Did I? I'm tired. My mind's playing tricks. She shrugged it off, a pebble in the shoe of her consciousness, and prepared for bed. Sleep was a shallow pool, and the sound that pulled her from it at 1:30 a.m. was loud enough that Elaine was woken up abruptly. Stomp, stump clop, clop, clop stump. In her semi-awake sleepy state, Elaine was annoyed by the sounds of the footsteps from the room above hers. It was the start of the season for year-end graduation trips for many schools after all. Still, the loud, frantic, uneven pacing upstairs going between the door and her bed was inexcusable. Tired, helpless, she laid there listening. The hard steps vibrated the wall behind her headboard. They were faint but distinct tremors that rattled the headboard. She felt every step. There were two distinct steps. One sounded like a clop from a wooden sole, but the other was stomp with no shoes. Clop stomp. Rhythmic but not symmetric. Back and forth from the door to the bed, then back again in a quick tempo. It was a circuit of pure, compulsive movement above her. Lying there in the absolute dark, she had sudden realizations as if they were whispered clues that had been injected into her mind to induce a shocking clarity. I shouldn't be able to hear footsteps that loudly because hotel floors are soundproof. Something is running upside down on the ceiling. The rhythm was all wrong, a limping, lopsided gait of manic urgency. A practical thought surfaced, a life ring from the rational world, record the noise with phone. As the thought crystallized into action and Elaine reached for her phone on the nightstand, the footsteps stopped directly above her. The footsteps didn't just fade, they ceased, instantly. The silence that followed was a presence. It was a listening silence. Her eyes, wide and dry, were fixed on the stippled white expanse above her. The vibration ceased, the headboard was still. A cold understanding, absolute and irrevocable, poured into her. It was not just aware of the sound it made, it was aware of her. It had heard the silent click of her intention and paused, mid-stride, to watch. The clock showed 1:37 a.m. Although the time was insignificant, but she felt a lifetime. She pulled the blanket over her face slowly, a child's defense against the monster, and began to pray. Needless to say, the merciful arrival of dawn did not arrive fast enough for Elaine, who welcomed it with sleep-deprived eyes. When she saw the hotel's name on the itinerary on the same trip the following year, a cold stone settled in her gut. At the front desk, the young clerk, smiling, began to recite her room assignment. She didn't let him finish. "No," she said, and her voice was a wire. "Not that room. Any other room, but not that one." The clerk, confused by her intensity, consulted his screen. "Is there a problem with 217, ma'am?" Elaine looked at him, then past him, through the glass to the grand portico and the massive cloven-hoofed moose statues above it. She thought of the sound, the footsteps, the vibration, and the thought of something running upside down on her ceiling. "Yes," she said intensely, "I just can't sleep in that room." Her voice was unwavering. The clerk reassigned her to another room on the second floor. She slept through the night, a deep and dreamless sleep. But sometimes, in the quiet moments between wakefulness and sleep, she thinks of the next teacher, the next odd-numbered chaperone, the next lucky soul who gets a room of their own. She thinks of them checking into room 217, looking out at the moose's feet, and she wonders if they, too, will have a visit at 1:30. And she wonders what will happen when they lie down, and the circuit begins again, a frantic, limping dance on the edge of two worlds.